The family is the bedrock and lifeline of any society. It is the single most important influence in a child's life. On Family World with Paula, together with credible experts.
There's a thin line between respect and fear. I don't want my children to be afraid of me.
So when you don't respect children, three things will happen. One, they won't respect you.
We will be exploring and discussing the many different aspects and issues bordering on the family, ranging from conception, motherhood, fatherhood, parenting, relationships to marriage.
Many people are not really ready for marriage.
We will be celebrating men and women who have survived one family mishap or the other and have them tell their inspiring story. This is the show for everyone who came out from a family structure, already owns a family, or is hoping to start one someday. Join us in this enlightening, informative, entertaining, and inspiring show as we take on interesting family topics, no holds barred. Drug abuse is simply consuming a chemical substance in amounts and manners that are not consistent with the prescribed standard over time. And a drug abuser is one who consumes illegal substances recreationally or because they are simply addicted to them. In Nigeria, the abuse of drugs has become rampant amongst the youth, and it is much bigger than we can imagine. In the past, Nigeria was only considered a transit nation for illicit drugs, but now we are an internationally recognized user nation. Alcohol and drug abuse not only harms the addict, but it can destroy relationships and also create emotional turmoil for family members and loved ones as they witness and experience a family member's alcoholism or drug dependence. That's why on the program today, we'll be discussing this heartbreaking issue with some experts to get more insights on the subject. My name is Paula, and welcome to Family World with Paula. Bekederemo Angela is a social worker, a therapist, an educator, and a substance abuse counselor. She's an advocate for low-threshold treatment for problematic drug users. Her intervention approaches include grassroots drug awareness campaign, prevention and curative programs, which promotes for the quality of life for drug users and communities at large. Dr. Honest Anaba is a medical officer in the House of Refuge and managing alcohol and drugs referral services. He is a medical practitioner with over 3 years' experience in substance abuse treatment. Thank you for joining me to talk about this menace that has become a scourge in the society. Thank you for coming, Dr. Honest and Angela.
Thank you.
Okay, can you tell me what are the signs that a family member is a drug abuser, Dr. Honest?
Okay, so before I move into that, we need to understand that substance abuse is a mental illness, not a moral failure the way society sees it. Mm-hmm. And what's a mental illness? It's a disease that causes mild to severe disturbances in thoughts and or behavior, resulting in inability to cope with daily normal routines. Mm-hmm. And there are more than over 200 classified mental illnesses.
Okay.
Now, substance abuse could mimic any of these illnesses. Mm-hmm. And we know common mental illnesses. We know depression, bipolar, schizophrenic illness, and anxiety disorders. So what do you actually expect from a person that indulges in substance abuse? You could see the person could maybe exhibit poor sleep. The person could exhibit fears, worries. The person could manifest hallucination, could be seeing things people don't see, could hallucinate. The person could also have low moods. The person could get aggressive. The person could have could manifest different forms of mental illnesses. So it depends, but you would definitely see there's a change compared to what you see that individual exhibits before. The person could even have poor hygiene. The person could have social withdrawal. The person might not like staying amongst family members or amongst friends. The person could even have anhedonia. That's when you don't have interest or in things you used to love before. Person could, so it could mimic any form of mental illness. You understand? But you would definitely observe that there's a change in behavior or a change in thought pattern of the person.
Okay. In other words, what you're saying essentially is that some of the signs of those who are of a substance abuser is also similar to the signs of someone who has a mental health issue. Okay. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So, what should family members do to help drug abusers, Becca?
Okay, the thing is that they have to be open and honest about it. Like in our society, we tend to sweep things under the carpet because of the stigmatization, like you rightfully put it, which is not so. Family are not ready to talk about it. But the truth of the matter is that if you discover that your child is abusing substance, the first thing you do is talk it over with the child. Find out what led to it, because somebody using substance is not just using substance. The person can be using like a coping mechanism. The person might be doing it based on, I just want to experiment to see how it is, and the person got hooked, or peer pressure like that. So discuss it with the child and find out the extent that the user has become dependent on it before it becomes problematic for the user. Then talk to a mental health counselor and seek treatment. Like you rightfully put it, is a condition that can be treated. So how do children, okay, first of all, let's find out the age range of youths or children in the society that have been exposed to it. From what age on is this scourge common with?
Okay, from studies and from reports from drug bodies, enforcement agencies, global reports, substance abuse cuts across all age groups. You might do a study in a particular place and you might realize that, okay, there are more of youths here taking drugs. Does not mean that the older ones don't take. I can explain to you what they call patterns and trends, changing trends of substance abuse. You might realize that the younger ones are more into the prescription medication, they are more into the codeine, they're more into tramadol. The older ones are more into cocaine, more into heroin. Do you understand? But you won't see you won't find more cocaine and heroin abusers amongst the younger ones.
Because they're expensive.
Yeah, because they're expensive. But at the same time, the younger ones will look at cocaine and heroin like, no, this is not for me, this is for... They will look like, no, this is for evil people, or this, that's the way. So they feel like the tramadol is chill, the codeine is chill. But they fail to realize that most of those prescription medications are gateway substances. So they open the gates for you to later get on to use the cocaine, the heroin.
Sorry to cut you short, but are they just as dangerous as heroin and cocaine? Or there is milder form? Or they're just as dangerous?
There's actually no milder form, because all these drugs, they're all into families. They're families of substances like heroin, morphine, codeine. They are all opiates.
Yes.
So the younger ones could be using codeine, but it's almost like using heroin. But just that because they're all in the same family, they're all opiates. So they actually exhibit the same symptoms and issues and damages that could cause in the brain. Yeah. So when we talk about substance abuse affecting just a particular age group, it's not possible because there's a trend of drugs that are common with an age group, and another trend of drugs common with the higher ones. You understand? Because you won't see an older person or someone using heroin and cocaine, for instance. You won't see someone just starting off his life and just say it was cocaine and heroin I first started with. It's not possible. If you trace back to his history, you will see that there was a previous use of marijuana before, a previous use of maybe codeine or tramadol. Then at a point they wanted to try something higher, because everything at the end of the day, the whole journey of substance abuse is you want to always discover that first high you experienced. So that keeps you in that.
So the body becomes used to the drugs, that it doesn't give them the same experience that they've had before. This is revealing for me.
Yeah, their tolerance level depreciates. and they keep chasing the eye, and the more you chase the eye, the more you become dependent, the more you become hooked, and it becomes problematic for the user. Like he rightfully puts it, that first euphoria that was experienced, that's what they are trying to recapture, and they can never ever get it.
Oh God, wow. So how do they become exposed to drugs? Where can they really find them? How do they become, should I say, indoctrinated into this pattern, into this habits?
Yeah, if I may come in, that we want to look at it from the pop culture. When you live in a culture where drug use is glamorized, let's take our pop artists for instance, and these children, whether we like it or not, they model after these pop artists. They see them as being successful, and they see them doing drugs, so they feel there's nothing wrong doing drugs. So the exposure, so they want to emulate these pop artists, and the availability of the drugs, they're all over. They're in the community. You see that, you walk down Sulere, you see somebody selling marijuana openly. Even the people that are supposed to enforce the law, they are there using. So everybody thinks it's an acceptable norm. If this person is doing it, why can't I do it? And they believe that, because this person has problem with it, it won't happen to me. Just like he said, they see heroin, cocaine as the evil drugs, while the codeine, tramadol, Rohypnol, those ones are like get weight for them, so they just want to do it. The bottom line is that it's the availability of these drugs.
The availability of those drugs. And where can someone easily find those drugs? Just give me an idea. Okay, we shouldn't even talk about it because
we should. You'll be amazed. Even the security man, the security man that is manning your gates, that has that small kiosk, if you investigate, you'll be surprised that he's selling drugs.
Wow.
It's all over. It's not an hidden thing. The girl hawking whatsoever, the alcohol, different things that she carries on her head that they call alagbo. You'll be surprised. Walking along the streets of Obalende is selling drugs.
So how do I know if I want to buy drugs from her? How am I going to ask her? What would I ask her?
And they have their terms.
They have their terms.
They have their terms.
Like what? What are the terms? Can you tell us what they are?
Okay, like. And you know the danger with this drug is that you can't tell what you're even smoking because they lace all sorts.
Jeez.
Like it was revealed of recent that they even lace lizard dung. Who in their right senses will want to smoke lizard dung?
Oh my goodness. So how do we protect our children? How do we guard them against the use of drugs? What should we do?
It all boils down to awareness. We can't actually just be laid back about this because it's becoming a major problem. Sometimes you just sit back in your facility and you just need to see the amount of young ones that you have to manage. And the problem with substance abuse is that you get indulged in it like before 18 years. You're more likely to develop a mental illness because your brain has not fully developed. It's about 18 to 21 years of age. You're more likely to be addicted. You're more likely to develop a mental illness.
That's really sad.
So that's why we need to create that awareness. We cannot just shut our eyes at it. We need to tell them these are
to reach out to the youth and let them see what the dangers are.
Yeah, we have to intervene at the preventive level at this point. So sometimes we go to schools, we do a lot of talks, make them aware of drugs, the harm it causes, how the need for being assertive, because you would have friends that would definitely want you to indulge in it. And the thing is that most of our kids, they could get into it because of maybe social acceptance, peer pressure. Some of them could come from broken homes. Some are spoiled kids. They've been overindulged growing up. And we have some children too that exhibit antisocial traits. These kids that always want to break rules. When they say don't do this, they always want to break the rules. These are risks. But it's very important we actually make our kids aware, because when I get to talk with some of them that I have to manage much later, I realize that many of them are not aware. Some of them don't really know. Yes, some of them don't really know. Some of them will be arguing with you. Marijuana does not cause psychosis. And I'll be like, seriously, I don't blame them, but they don't know. They're not aware.
So there should be more awareness created. Now it's a national issue.
Yeah. In addition to that, I want to add that parents should take informative classes. As in, you have a child, you should learn about these drugs. Because one thing with Nigerian parents is that, like, it's very difficult for them to sit and discuss issues, sensitive issues
with their children.
Yes. Now, fine. Parents can come out and say, oh, I discuss sex with my child, fine. But what about drugs? How do you even start? So you get the basic information, all the necessary knowledge about drugs. Then, like you rightfully said, teach your child assertiveness. Your child have to say no, not just no verbatim, no with body language, and talk immediately. Your child is reporting that individual. Mommy, James said I should follow him to use drugs. Then teach your child's coping skills. Is that child going through stress? What are the coping skills for the child to deal with that stress? Because sometimes they use it not because they like it. They are undergoing stress, probably stress in the family, stress between mommy and daddy. One auntie or one uncle is molesting them. They just want to get away from this thing. Let the child open up. Then refusal skills. Somebody is offering you drugs. Sorry, I do not do drugs, and if you keep doing it, I'm sorry, we cannot continue to be friends. Then look for a supervising adult that you can relate these things to. That's what we teach children. So just saying no to drugs is not good enough. We empower them with these skills. So even if somebody offers them, they can open up to their parents or somebody that is listening to them.
Yeah, it looks as if that in these days, parents cannot be hands-off. They cannot. Parenting has to be intentional because there are a lot of vices that the children are faced with today than in the earlier days, and parents have to wake up and rise up to this challenge. One more question: what are the devastating effects of this habit on the family? I can only imagine, but you are the field worker. You have worked with youths and you've worked with their families. What effect do you think this habit has had on the families that you have worked with?
It's crazy. Drug abuse destroy family, whether you like it or not, because that user wants to sustain that lifestyle and to get to a point that he cannot afford it. So what does he do? He will steal. He will pick anything in the house. And if it has gotten to the level of psychosis, it brings shame to the family. It brings stigma. People complain, I saw your child doing this. So it's terrible. Even during family therapies, you see the child blaming the parent blaming the child. But the truth of the matter is that everything still boils down to treatment, understanding, support, with the willingness from the user to like, oh, I want to give up this lifestyle. They can overcome.
Wow.
And to add to that, it's actually once there's a user in a family, it's a family problem. It's no longer a user. It's not even only the mom or it's everybody. Everybody goes up and down trying to see.
It tears the family apart.
I'm telling you, because it causes broken interpersonal relationships in family, and trust issues develop. Nobody can actually entrust anything to such a person. It's something that is that's adverse when it comes to family effect, and as you said, stigma. Family is like, this person is not really, the problem with substance abuse is that it affects the life holistically. It's not only when somebody is saying he's crazy, it causes a motivation. A user doesn't want to go and work. I
was just going to ask that question. That do users keep normal jobs? Are they able to maintain?
No. Let me speak from a practical experience. It might even surprise you. My late brother, I always use a story for my clients, like a learning phase. I've never used substance. I grew up in the ghetto. We're both exposed to same environment, but I was more resilient. I could no, I don't want to do this. I put a stop to it. But my brother used. Can you imagine my brother started using substance at the age of 10. He died at 43. So 33 years of his life he was using substance. At this time he has developed psychosis. The motivation to work, zero. You get back to the house, all you see him is just on the couch like a potato, as in his eye, all the time, because that's the drug helps him to function. rehab treatment does not come cheap. You can either go to the federal hospitals like Yaba, Arrow, private-owned rehab, and the one I want to focus on is the community-based outpatient treatment center. That one is basically free because it's funded by the UNODC and EU. What we do there is that it's like a shelter. They come in, we treat them. They meet with me, the social worker. They meet with the psychiatric nurse. They get to meet with the medical doctor. Then we kind of administer treatment, give them food and clothing. But that one is funded. We hope that at the end of this project tenure, Nigerian government will adopt it. They will take ownership and accountability of it, so people can have free community treatment.
To come in there, to that, the community-based treatment the UN is funding, it's not like it's majorly treatment.
Okay.
It's more like a brief intervention we do there.
Okay.
And harm reduction. Okay. Because most of them are street users, like those that live in joints. Most of them, those are like the target, our target clients. So most of them are.
When you say those who live in joints, what do you mean?
Those are the kind of people society will label junkie. They've lost touch. Yeah, they've lost touch with their homes. They don't have any. So
they're homeless now.
So they're homeless. The street is.
But they still get the substance to use somehow.
Yeah, because that they will not delve into crime. Probably they'll pick your pockets, they pick your phone to sustain the lifestyle.
Most of them came from wealthy homes. Some of them most of them wealthy men, but they've been like 30 years history in cocaine, heroin. 30 years. Most of them are already in their late 50s, 60s,
70s.
They have families, but they don't even know what's family. At this point, they are dependent. You know why? When heroin enters the picture, just 24 hours after your last use, you start withdrawing. And that withdrawal
means that you need to go for another
one.
So you need to take it. So they live in the joint. They can't even go out of there except they go for treatment. And that treatment is intense detoxification first, before we now start our psychotherapeutic interventions. So it's for them, we just try to talk to them, try to maybe help.
So it's a mild form of intervention.
Just a mild form.
But still need to go for proper treatment.
So that's why even we have some organizations like Freedom Foundation. They are planning to do open up a low cost where people that can afford maybe they try to subsidize the amount for treatment so that people can actually access their facilities for treatment. But most times it's always best when most of these individuals in the joints we can actually have their family support, because that is very important even after treatment.
Because who's going to pay? Exactly.
Who's going to pay?
That support.
The support is very important. Like there was this guy we gave treatment. After treating him, for him to be reconciled with the family said no.
But you know, if you look at
eventually he died.
But you know, if you look at it, say the family ends up, doing what they can to save the life of someone who, I don't know, everybody has a story. Everyone has a reason for going into drugs. And like you said, we should not be judgmental, but we should be empathetic. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for
you guys are awesome. You're the real heroes.
Thank you.
Because you're saving lives on a daily basis. Thank you. We'll keep ringing and resounding this message so people can stay away and parents can be equipped with the right information that they need to protect their children against this menace. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
And God bless you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
If you enjoyed our show, find us and connect with us on social media. We would love to hear from you. Our social media handles are on your screen.